It looks like Hotlanta became Hothlanta. Okay, only the Star Wars folks got that one. Hi, and welcome to Quilt World, where we have adventures in piecing and joy. I'm Russ. Come on into my sewing room. It was ridiculous. Mother Nature decided to make everything here white. It was devil's dandruff, Connecticut confetti, New England clam powder. I had been watching the threats a few days ahead, so I was mentally preparing for all the annoying stuff that, was going to happen. I did the appropriate shopping I needed to do earlier in the week. I got some bread, some peanut butter and jelly, basics that you need in the event that things happen. Why didn't I get bread and eggs and milk like everyone else? I didn't want French toast. I never understood why people buy French toast ingredients when there's going to be a major event because, that's what everybody wants. And the thing is, people down here don't seem to understand. If we lose power, you need shelf stable stuff to eat because you probably can't cook it unless you have a gas stove to make that French toast. I also don't understand, the big run on water. I can get it if we lived out in the middle of nowhere, but we're in a city and we have city water. The toilets flush when the electricity goes out, and the taps will flow as well. It may not taste as good because it's not filtered and all that other fun stuff, but you have to rough it a little bit, people. If we lose some power, you gotta rough it. But yeah, people freaking out. It's just ridiculous every single time. I woke up Friday morning and started assessing the situation. It was kind of pretty outside, but there was no way I was going to get Riley to daycare. We had already, by the time I got up, a couple of inches of snow. So the poor girl didn't make it. She did not like even going outside. I have never seen her go in and out or out and in so quickly, knowing that she had to go potty before she was allowed back in. I did take a couple videos and posted them here on YouTube as shorts. So if you are looking forward to what a couple inches of snow in Georgia looks like, you can go look. Spoiler alert, it looks like a couple inches anywhere else. After I recorded my second short, though, I was out back and my neighbors came out back from their house and they were like, Lulu didn't make it to daycare this morning. And, I said, well, Riley didn't either. As I was thinking to myself, Lulu only goes to daycare when y'all go out of town. They then said to me, yeah, that they had planned a trip to Costa Rica for the next day and, needed Riley to get to daycare for boarding. And I was like, well, if only they had told us about the storm, a week in advance, you probably could have gotten her to daycare Thursday night. Probably not. They didn't appreciate that. But yeah, basically told them they should have planned better because obviously I can't take Lulu to daycare. I understand I have experience driving and some of that crap, but I have experience driving and some of that crap in places where they know how to manage that crap and get things plowed in time and stuff. So yeah. And, Riley and Lulu are besties, but if I tried to take care of Lulu here, they'd have the whole house torn up being, crazy with each other. And the snow ended up, letting up probably about 9 in the morning or so, 9:30. And it was about midday when things had warmed up probably to what the max temperature was going to be. So I sent them a message and said that it's probably the best time out there if you want to attempt to get Lulu to daycare. Um, I I know that they had been brining the roads and stuff, so I imagine I'm like, if they can get some trucks out there, I have no idea, but if they had a chance, that would be their best chance. And they responded back saying that the husband had already left a little bit earlier to bring her. So at that point, I'm like, okay, is he going to be okay? Is he going to be fine? And I got an update when they made it to daycare, and I got an update when they made it home safely before the freezing rain came in. Whether or not they made it to Costa Rica, I think they did because they haven't been around the past couple of days. But yeah, I wasn't planning on going anywhere, but I was still prepared with food and sustenance and stuff. The only problem is I still had to work on Friday, which eliminated all chance of me coming into the sewing room. But I did get to play with my new toy, though. I think I've mentioned it before. My friend Steven was more than generous when I saw him at the retreat last month, and he gifted me one of his retiring 3D printers. I knew it was like an older printer and stuff, but it's just something that lets me see if it's something that I'm interested in. And if I am interested in it, I can see what I can do, start practicing with that, and then decide if I want to save up and buy a newer printer, something that you know might have more quality or whatever it is. I'm still learning, so I don't even know what it is I would want in a 3D printer, so I need to figure things out. What I did do with my starting is a coworker of mine wanted some little token things he could use for Dungeons and Dragons because he hosts game night every now and then. He had found me the model files, I guess that's what they're called, and it was of three different sizes, four different sizes. They had a medium, a large, a yeah, medium, large, huge, and ginormous. Which I'm a little confused because don't you need, in order to have like medium and large, don't you need a small? So I was just messed like it should have been just basically called small, medium, large, and ginormous or huge or something like that. But I was able to start testing and printing with that. It felt like a huge accomplishment because it was working, but at the same time, I think that they were very basic prints, so probably not something that the average person who has been 3D printing would get excited about. But yeah, they were basically the small ones were quarter sized, and they have like a little slot in the top that you can put a piece of paper in, almost like the dolls that people had as a kid, the paper dolls as a kid that you would get to dress. There was a look like you could probably put one of those in there and have it stand up and walk around. It was, like I said, pretty cool. I gave him everything on Monday, and he was like beyond excited for it. And I said, it was awesome for me to try. Let me know if you want anything else, and we can, work out a deal for that. I did try to do a print in place fidget clicky thing I had found on Thingiverse, but that failed miserably. When I pulled it off, I could not get it to turn, even though everything says it should have been able to turn. Like, I mean, I know that there was probably some loosening that I would have to do of the little bit of flashy that would go between, but it just did not work. I went back to the file on Thingiverse, and there was many complaints that it did not work. So I probably should have read those first. It looks like it was intended for a printer that had a finer resolution than the one I have. And should it's just learning for me that says, hey, I need to read more than just looking at the picture. So yeah, I'm still gonna try more things. I have something that I want to try printing, but that one requires some resizing because it is a few millimeters bigger than the print plate that I have. And the best I can tell, the only thing to fix that is to shrink it down. So I am uh, trying to figure out how to get that to work. My first couple attempts didn't work, but I was on an older computer and it was running dog slow. So I had to wait until I can get the computer that I had installed everything on initially up and running and get all that finer detail running. Saturday, I got up and looked outside and I was like, the road doesn't look as nice as I would like it to in order to go out. I mean, it had been freezing rain overnight and the temperature's been below freezing, so I'm sure my driveway was probably a sheet of ice. So I was like, I'm not going anywhere. I took Riley outside. She still wasn't thrilled about the snow, which was then snow with a layer of ice on it. Came in, made me some breakfast, and then I got settled into my sewing room to do some work. During my 11Z's live, had a guest on there. It was my friend Steven, I mentioned earlier, the idiot quilter. We chatted a bit and had a lot of fun as I sewed up the first block of the Fort Worth Fabric Studio Winter's Night Sew Along. It came together pretty quickly. I am thrilled with the way that it looks. I think it's called the Snowflake Block, and it came together really nicely. I'm a little undecided if it went together fast because the time flew by because of the fun time I was having chatting with Steven, or whether it was just that easy of a block. After my live was over, I wanted something better to eat than the shelf stable stuff that I had been working on. So I got into the car and went to QT to get a sandwich. The roads were perfectly fine at that point, although there were a few random splotches of frozen stuff randomly falling off the trees and power lines. Uh, that I know happens all the time after a storm. I think the difference is in the north, there's not as many evergreens, so things fall off a lot easier than when you have trees down here that are pine and magnolia that don't lose things. There were a couple places on the road that I'm like, that doesn't look like that's going to be really nice overnight. So I just kept that mentally in my head, and things off to the side, still covered in random white stuff. Saturday afternoon at 5, I joined my friend Stephanie of Quilting with Stephanie Stitches and a few other awesome friends as we sewed up month 3 of the Dragon Fruit Block of the Month from Fat Quarter Shop. It is a fun block of the month, and it's all foundation paper pieced, but it's foundation paper piecing traditional blocks. So you get the accuracy of foundation paper piecing without having to go through the wonky shapes that you might do with something that's a little bit more advanced. It's a great starter for foundation paper piecing. We had a little larger set of blocks this time, and I got a good amount done on the live. We had this block, which I think everybody called it the raspberry. It is a gorgeous purple and kind of a almost like a peachish background. And then the second block, this one I know is called the peach block. Just because I know I live in Georgia, but I don't like peaches. But it's a gorgeous block anyway. After we were done, I was like, well, I want to start working on the flying geese blocks, but I was a little exhausted. Sunday though, it was a little quiet, so I got the other block from Winter's Night done, and then I started working on the flying geese, and I managed to get them done. Yes, I know. This does not look like flying geese, but trust me, it is. If you look at the papers on the back, they will end up cutting out to be two separate flying geese units. So yeah, this looks a little funny, but if you were able to imagine where the lines were, they will cut out. I'm not a huge fan of the method they gave to make these flying geese, but it works. What I would have probably preferred is something closer to the way that the tamed geese from triangulations happen, where they tell you to take a square, cut it corner to corner both ways, and that gives you the goose part of your flying geese that you can line up in your papers and then do your wings, sky, whatever you want to call it, separately. So the way that they made us, it had quite a bit of waste. In fact, this is one of the pieces of waste from it, and this is a pretty good sized piece. So it is what it is. I have plenty of fabric for it, and I know that it's just taking away from fabric from my stash for the future. Sunday evening, I managed to get around to laying out my sister's quilt blocks on the design floor, something that I've been trying to hopefully get done this week. They got laid out, and I pulled everything out into my piles. I have this awesome organization thing where I have all of the blocks for a row put together. They're stacked up just right. They have the number of the row. So I can just lay it down, put the new block on the right, or the first block on the left, and the new stuff gets put onto the right and folded over, and just sew them through the machine. These are 10-inch blocks, and there are 56 of them, if my math is correct. So hopefully, getting the rows sewn together and then getting the stuff sewn into rows is not going to take me too long, but we will see when that gets to happen. The rest of this week, it was kind of blah. Can't say anything overly exciting happened. I am still waiting for a prescription to arrive that was supposed to be here before the snow started. So, yeah, if it doesn't come tomorrow, CVS and I are going to have words. Simply because it was supposed to have been here the day before the snow. And if it doesn't make it here tomorrow, it'll be a full week late, and I kind of need it. Monday morning, I sent out an email to the folks on my mailing list that said that this Sunday will be a Sewing Shenanigans Sew Day that I will be hosting. For anybody who is not in the know, Sewing Shenanigans is a Zoom Sew Day that I put together. It is private, it is free, and it does not get broadcast anywhere. It's just, the only people who will see you are the folks that are already there sewing and stuff. You don't care what your sewing room looks like, but a lot of folks just enjoy having someone to sew with. So this gives everybody a chance to, say hi, meet new people, and give you a little bit of motivation to just get going. We usually get a lot of inspiration when some people, finish a project or have something recently finished. They want to show it off to everybody. And occasionally there might be some enabling that goes on, might be convincing somebody to buy something. As I said, it is free. Everyone is welcome, even if you are not on my mailing list. There is a link in the description box below for you to join. You can just save it off to your computer or come back to this video on Sunday and join us. We will start about 8:30 a.m. Eastern time on Sunday. You will have to translate that to your time zone because there are more than 24 time zones in the world. So I don't want to sit there and just list all the time zones. There's a awesome website called World Time Buddy that you can put in, I want to translate Eastern time zone to my time zone, figure out what time it is. And we will go on until about 3:30 or so Eastern time. It is come as you go as you please. Come and go as you please. Yeah, that's it. So if you can only make it for like an hour in the middle of the day, that's perfectly fine. Just anything that gives you a little bit of motivation and inspiration, that's all that matters. And if you do want to be added to my mailing list for future events, just shoot me an email. The address is in the description below as well. So shoot me an email and say, hey, put me on your mailing list, and you will be first notified in the future. What am I doing this week? A lot. First things first is this Saturday is Saturday Sampler Weekend at my local quilt shop. So I already have my quilt block done for the month, but I don't have anything for show and tell. Normally I try to have something for show and tell, but I have been busy this past month with, Christmas, retreat, working on my sister's quilt, that I haven't had time to go play on the long arm. So, yeah, they'll just have to get over it. And the shop owner hasn't been there the past couple months, and I kind of feel like, she's neglecting us. It's been her daughter that has been doing the Saturday Sampler stuff, but I'm like, I miss you. So yeah, that is first thing in the morning on Saturday. Then at 11 a.m. Eastern for my 11sies live, I will be sewing up week 3 of the Fort Worth Fabric Studio Winter's Night Sew Along. Week 2 was the snowflake block that I showed you earlier. Week 3, I believe, is called Hidden Star. And that one looks like it's a lot of fun too. So, a little excited. We will have 3 blocks to make for that one, but I will be focusing on just one while we are sewing together, and then put the other 2 for homework. After my live, I will be joining my friend Steven of the Idiot Quilters Pop-Up Sew Day. He does these every now and then. And if you go to the YouTube channel Bland Designs and the Idiot Quilter, you will be able to get a link to his pop-up sew days if you are not familiar with them. They are very much like my Sewing Shenanigans. I just, took the idea from him and renamed it. We always have a blast on his so days, and it will give me the motivation to work on the quilts that need to be done ASAP, and so I can get them sent out for long arming. So I will definitely be working on my sister's quilt. Hopefully, I will get the center done. Hopefully, we will see. Sunday, as I mentioned earlier, I will be hosting Sewing Shenanigans on Zoom. So I will be working on everything that I can there. I'm hoping that it'll just be borders and getting those done. We will see how far I get with that. Maybe I will get the top done. We will see. Monday is a holiday here in the United States, Martin Luther King Day. I would love to be joining my friend John of Guys Craft 2 on his quilting bee Monday morning. However, my car needs its regular service, and I scheduled it for Monday the 20th. So Monday morning, I am out of pocket, but I am planning on being home for 1 p.m. Eastern. So my friend Stephanie and I can come together on my channel and work on month 6 of Bumbleberry Pie. Bumbleberry Pie is a block of the month song that we kind of strong arm each other into. It's gonna be gorgeous. And with it being month 6, we are halfway there. If my car service does start to run a tad late, I will just shift the YouTube card time start time as soon as I know when we if it'll be late and stuff. But hopefully, it's just gonna be a quick oil change and everything will be on time. So yeah, I have quite a bit going on this week. Anywho, I think that is going to be about it for today. I hope you were entertained a bit with my weekly shenanigans. If you wouldn't mind doing the things that make the YouTube algorithm happy, that would be awesome. They are things such as liking the video, commenting below, or even having a snowball fight. I've heard you could store snow in your freezer and give a big surprise to somebody in July. Subscribing to my channel is free and a wonderful way of letting YouTube know that you like my shenanigans. Ringing the bell icon next to the subscribe button will get you notified when I go live on Saturday mornings and upload other videos. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day and an awesome week. Until next time, stay happy and remember, always measure your life in love.